Hey guys, welcome back to Littlelee and Rose. My name is Summer Noel, and today we are going to make a very, very special cup. I'm going to be teaching you guys how to do a baby dedication cup. It's really just like any other cup, but we're going to dedicate this beautiful cup to our little glitter baby, Erin. If you don't know who Erin is, then you probably aren't in my Facebook group because everybody in my Facebook group knows who Erin is. Erin was the first baby born to our Facebook group. Her mom went into labor on the day she won a big prize from our group. And we found out down the road that she had actually gone in labor that day and had to go in the hospital and have her baby. And I just thought it was very, very cute. And little baby glitter baby Erin was born at 24 weeks. So she is in the NICU and her mom is very, very special. And that baby is very special to our group. And so I'm going to be doing a very cute cup for her. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a baby and a mama bear cup all in one. We're going to be using this beautiful printed vinyl. This is from Marcy's Vinyl and Decals. Marcy's Vinyl is on Facebook, and I will have a link to her page. But we're also going to be having a kit with this, so you can buy the glitter and the vinyl all together and easily make and replicate this cup because this vinyl is really, really pretty. We're going to be using Psychedelic. This is from WickedShimmerSupply.com. So this glitter is actually really, really fun, and I've been saving it for this project specifically because I knew I was going to be doing this. This glitter glows in the dark, and it also turns to purple in the sunlight. So it's going to match this regardless whether it's in the daylight or inside. It'll turn from pink to purple. And what's really, really cool is we are going to put baby Erin's first footprints. I had the nurse take little footprints of baby Erin for us, and I'm going to show you guys how I will be putting the footprints on the cup with her name, date, birth weight, all that fun stuff. And then we're going to be having this glitter down behind it and then the footprints on top. And that way when it glows, it still shows her footprints when it glows. So it's going to be really, really, really cute. And then on the other side of the cup, it's going to be a mama bear cup. So we're going to kind of be... What you guys would know this kind of is like the house divided cups where one side is one thing and the other side is another. We're going to be doing this beautiful kind of swirl, not swirl, but this beautiful like design with the paper on the cup. And then on one side will be the mama bear and on the other side is going to be little glitter baby Erin's footprints. Okay, so let's get started. I've already prepped this cup. If you don't know how to prep a cup, guys, go ahead and jump on my channel. Just click Littlelee and Rose underneath this tutorial. It'll take you my whole channel. Scroll back to the beginning and you will see a tutorial on how to prep a cup. This is a stainless steel double-walled tumbler. It's been sanded, cleaned, and spray painted. So if you don't know how to do that and get a cup ready, go ahead and jump on that and watch that tutorial. It will bring you up to speed with where we are with this cup now. I'm going to set some of this stuff off to the side. We're going to be using this beautiful foil vinyl. And we are going to use, and I liked this color because it kind of matches with the peachy, goldy cream color of this flower. And then we've got the pink flower that matches the glitter, and we've got the purple flower that will match the glitter when it's purple. So we've kind of tying in all the colors to this cup. So I'm just going to put these off to the side. We're going to be working right now. We're going to start with our vinyl. So what we want to do is the vinyl is obviously bigger than this cup, which is perfect. And we are going to cut a slice, and then we're going to cut an angle of the slice because I don't want this to just be half a cup. I don't want to just have a straight line and a straight line. We're going to kind of be creative, and it is going to be a half a cup, but it's going to be at an angle. So that's going to be our fun little twist for this. So let me grab the supplies I'm going to need to get started, and we will be right back. All right, guys, for this portion, you want a really good ruler, a nice something to cut on. I'm just using this. I have this little remnant piece put together. It makes a big one, but I don't like these in the middle. So I just use this as my little traveling cutter when I need to cut. And then I have a nice sharp X-Acto knife. Don't you like that I matched all these colors to like be complementary to each other? You guys are so spoiled by me. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to line this up, and I know I want about half the cup covered, so I need to mark out right about here. Then we're going to just take this piece, just making sure I get a nice straight line. There we go. So it's lined up right there. I've got it lined up on this line. We're going to take my X-Acto knife, and I'm going to slice through this vinyl with the X-Acto knife. I don't think I got the very beginning. There we go. There we go. Now I'm going to just save this off to the side because this is a beautiful piece of vinyl and no need to waste that. So I now know that what I want this to essentially do is kind of wrap around the cup at an angle like this, you see? So I'm going to have this little space that's going to be for her little footprints, and the rest of it is going to have Mama Bear on it. So, but we want this to be at an angle. So what we're going to do, and you see I've got it lined up here, and this looks beautiful. It's a perfect little swirl. And we're going to take it, and you just kind of get it where the paper where you want it. I'm going to put my X-Acto knife down and cover it because I do not need to stab myself. So I'm going to have my pen ready. So you just kind of line it up on the cup and look on the opposite side and make sure that you like the shape and pattern that it is. Then you're going to hold it nice and steady, just like this, and you're going to mark with your marker a line along the top of the vinyl, just like that, okay? Then do the exact same thing. Make sure not to move the paper. Be very careful that you hold it in perfect place. And you're going to do the same thing here. Boop. Okay, so I've got my lines. I tailed off a little bit there, but I know that, so I can adjust accordingly. Then we're going to take the ruler again. I'm going to go just inside this line because I actually want, I don't want it to go over I don't want it to lip over the edge, and I know that my pen was just off the edge, so I'm actually going inside the line by a tiny, tiny, tiny bit. And if it is slightly, so if you cut it and it's slightly below the line, that's fine. We'll end up glittering that rim. But it's better to be a little behind than over. So we're going to cut right on that line, on that angle, and remove that. By the way, I save all these little pieces because these work really, really well for phone grips. You can cut this out in the exact size of the circle and use it as a background or just decorate your phone grips. Okay, so I save every little piece of extra anything. I have just a little container, so I'm going just inside on this line. I'm going to go a little more there. Boop. Okay. So in case you guys are wondering, yes, I am still homeless while this one is being filmed. If you don't know this, my house flooded, so we have 4 grown adults and triplets sleeping in the front yard. It's super fun. It's like a camping field trip. Oops, that's the wrong way. All right, so there we go. So now this should be darn close. If you line it up perfectly with the bottom, the top should line up. So I'm a little excess. I'm just looking up here. I have a little bit extra. The bottom looks pretty good. I'm just going to make sure that it's not human error that's giving me that extra. You just want to kind of eyeball it around, check it. Yep, I do have a little extra. So, and that's probably from the way I was holding the pen, the angle I was holding the pen. So I'm going to try to go straight on now. There we go. And recut. Oh, see, it is my one line that I had the wonky part. So we're going to go back in, recut that. Sorry, guys, I have a crew coming in to try to re-anchor my cameras differently because everything I've tried, I cannot get this camera angle the way I like it. So somebody's going to be coming in and doing it for me. I'm going to slice right along there. Sorry, guys, if you hear background noise, it's because my cats and my dogs and my family are all crammed into one space now because we cannot be living in our house right now. Floods are fun. Let's all say it together. Floods are fun. Okay. That's looking much better, but for some reason it's still off just a little. It's probably human error. So that is pretty darn close. I'm going to trim off. So this is the tedious part, guys, but getting this perfect is what ends up making a perfect cup. So I'm just going to do another thin, thin, thin slice just so there's nothing overlapping the edge of the cup. And that should now make it perfect. So see, by cutting it at an angle, that's what makes it swoop around the cup as opposed to just being a basic straight line down the cup. Okay. So that is going to be perfect. There we go. See, so that's right on the lip. That is right on the edge. That's going to be perfect. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to apply this vinyl. So let me move all this stuff out of the way and we'll be right back. Okay, if you've not worked with large pieces of vinyl and dropping them down, it can be very, very tricky and you want to go at it very slow and steady. So what I do is I start removing the backing, but I don't remove it completely. I just work with what I can control. So I take about that much, I fold it down just about that much. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna just work from the top down, and you're gonna, sorry guys, this is hard to do because I'm literally straddling the camera. You're gonna line it up with the top, press down the middle, and don't worry about the edges. You're gonna focus on the middle of the vinyl as you go down. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm pushing my thumb, I'm sliding this backing off, and I'm letting my thumb push and put pressure as I slide the backing off. And my thumb is just pushing down slight pressure onto that paper. Okay, and there you go. Push out the wrinkles. Okay, and then you're gonna use your squeegee and just work one side down. The squeegee is gonna help it go down really nice and smooth with no air bubbles. Then same thing on this side, just work your squeegee. Squeegee that around. Use the squeegee to remove any of these creases or wrinkles. Just press it out. Kind of how you would be applying fabric with Mod Podge, just press. There's a little bit of wrinkle there, but you'll see it'll be fine. If it's right on the edge, you guys, it's not bad because we're going to be using the foil vinyl on the edges. There was an air bubble there, so I'm just pushing it out. You could hear it making a little popping noise as the air releases. There we go. Push out the creases. And there we go. So now we have that beautiful, beautiful piece like that. So now we're going to glitter it. Then now it's going to get a little trickier. So I put my vinyl on first. I normally, there's a lot of ways you can do this cup. I'm showing you the basics first. So I'm not going to get too crazy with this one. So what we're actually going to do now is we are going to actually tape this off with painter's tape. Then we are going to glitter it. Here we go. So here's the glitter. We're going to be using Psychedelic, and Psychedelic is going to go in this little section here. And that's going to be our color shifting from the pink to the lavender. All right, guys. So I'm going to grab my tape. We're going to get taped off. We're going to get epoxied, and we're going to get glittered all in the next shot. All right, guys, here we go. So we've got our our painter's tape. You want to use painter's tape, not electrical tape, because electrical tape will stick too firmly. You want to just lay the painter's tape right on the edge of your vinyl, just gently. Press it down, get a nice seal. This is going to keep the epoxy from seeping into that space because we're not ready for it to have epoxy yet. Then we're going to do that. And right here is where I'm going to trim it. Let's see, where did I put my X-Acto knife? Oh, you guys, hang on. Sorry, sometimes my kids come out here right in the middle of when I'm filming, and I have to quickly rid the entire area of anything that could hurt them because they're 2 and they're crazy. Okay, so we're just gonna do that. This one can stay because we're not gonna glitter the top. We are gonna glitter the base, so that's why I stopped there. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna tape off the other side. But sorry, so when my kids come in, I have to like swoop all this stuff away and anything that could possibly touch because there's 3 of them and they're crazy and you think they're just gonna come in here and play with glitter, and then all of a sudden your camera lens is missing and all your little tassel doodads are all gone, and you're like, what the heck? There must have been some 2-year-olds in this room. Okay, so there we go. We're doing the exact same thing. We're just basically edging it out, and then using this brand new super sharp. This is always the X-Acto knife I keep very, very, very sharp. I have multiple levels of X-Acto knives. Super sharp, kind of sharp, not really sharp. And then we're going to just tape off. I'm just going to use this because I'm frugal. And I'm just going to tape right along this edge. Oh, and look, it worked. That being frugal worked. That little piece was perfect. All right, so because I'm going to be glittering this part, guys, so that's why we're taping it off. All right, so now we've got this beautiful vinyl taped off, and we are going to cap our X-Acto knife, put it away. I'm gonna move my glitter over here, bring in my drying rack. If you guys don't have a drying rack, I have a tutorial on how to make this very simple, easy one. It's just, again, go back to all my tutorials. It's just PVC pipe. It's very easy to put together, and it has these arms that can be twisted off and used for your turner. You can attach footballs to them. I've got one here with a football on it, and that's what I use for my turner. All right, guys, so I'm going to get set up. I'm going to get some epoxy mixed real quick, and we are going to do some hang method on this sucker. All right, guys, so I have my chemical mask on, so I'm going to sound like I'm yelling because I am. I want to make sure you guys can still hear my voice, so I'm going to be talking real loud through this thing. I'm also going to be breathing like Darth Vader. I'm very, very used to wearing the chemical mask, you guys. So it doesn't really affect me how I work at all because I wear it pretty much most of the day because I almost always have some sort of epoxy mixing. Today is a rare day because I have been so stinking busy. I haven't been able to get too much going on the turner. I've been doing some other business stuff for you guys. So what we're going to do is the hang method. If you've never seen the hang method, you don't know, and this is all foreign to you. If you've seen this a million times, guys, you can fast forward like 2 minutes. I'm just going to talk about it real quick. But what you do is you take epoxy, and you need, you want to use a FDA compliant art epoxy, art resin. This particular one is counterculture DIY. It has no VOC, so I technically probably don't need to have my chemical mask on, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. I don't want to die of lung cancer or get asthma or have a respiratory infection or anything. So I'm just very, very careful. I wear my nitrile gloves. I wear my chemical mask. You only need about 2 mLs. 2 mLs is a very, very, very small amount. I have 3 other cups that I'm going to be doing the hang method on at the same time I'm doing this tutorial. I'm actually going to switch this over to this. We're going to put it on the football here. I'm switching it so it doesn't bang around because it's making kind of a lot of noise. Okay. So now you see, this is the part we're going to be doing. So what we're going to do is, this is the epoxy. It's marked equal parts, A and B. I don't worry about bubbles when I'm doing hang method because we're going to cover it with glitter anyway. You only need about that much. Actually, it's probably too much. I forgot that I'm not doing the whole cup. That's enough epoxy to do a hang method layer on the entire cup, guys. So I probably just overwhelmed myself here with too much epoxy. So what I do is it's already mixed. So now I'm just going to be rubbing it over where I want the glitter to stick. And then bringing it down the rest of the cup that's empty that we want the glitter to go. So you can do this with different methods, you guys. People apply glitter with epoxy. They apply it with Mod Podge. They have all these different ways. This is my favorite way to do it. It's the fastest. To me, it's the easiest. You can do Loctite. I just feel like I get better coverage on my first layer if I do it with this method. Normally, when you're working with glitters, you want the glitter in the back, the color of the paint in the background to match the color of your glitter. However, this is changing glitter, so it changes from pink to purple. And so I wanted that to be very amplified. And if I had painted this pink to match the pink, when it turned purple, it wouldn't really turn as purple because it would have that pink background kind of overshadowing it and changing the color. So I wanted it to be very pure. I want it to be pink and I want it to be purple. So that is why I did the white base for this, guys. Now there are different, Wicked Shimmer carries multiple different color shifting and UV glitters. You can pick the one that's your favorite. You're not stuck with just this one. I just liked this one for this particular cup. So, and for who I'm giving it to. So this is my favorite, Psychedelic. You've seen me use Psychedelic before in my Hydro Dip and Glitter Ombre tutorial. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this off to the side. I'm going to unscrew it, and now I'm going to just basically have a handle. I put the silicone mat under it while I was working, guys, in case it dripped any epoxy or I made a mess. The silicone mat, the epoxy will not stick to it. So if it drips on that mat, it will just pop right off after it's cured. Okay, so now I'm going to take this glitter, and we are going to sprinkle it all over where I want it to be. Now this glitter is kind of pricey, so you definitely don't want to waste it. You want to catch it. I'm using this is a pre-cut piece of parchment paper. You can buy the pre-cut pieces. I like them because they already have the fold. I just discovered these, you guys, the other day when I was trying to buy tin foil. And I saw these and I thought, oh, I'll give it a try. They were $4. It's usually more than I would pay for parchment paper. But they are definitely more convenient than a regular piece of parchment paper because you don't have to try to make a crease. It's already got a crease. So you knock the cup to get any excess off. That is absolutely beautiful. It looks like there's a fuzzy on it. Doop, doop. All right, so there you go. So that is hang method glitter application. Then what you're going to do is you're going to, well, let's put it back on the, I'm gonna hook it right back into my drying rack, guys. I'm going to just spin it back. It's going to be my holder. Well, I'm changing my mind. I'm sorry. It looks like the bottom needs a little bit more glitter on it. Here we go. Just want to make sure we get good coverage all over the cup. Right, that looks better. Sorry, it looked like it was a little sparse in a couple areas. Want to make sure we have good coverage before we call it quits on that. Okay. So now I am going to move this off. Let's see, watch, like this. It just folds very, very easily. It comes to a point because of that nice crease, because it's the pre-cut. And then with one hand, I just whoop, and it all goes back in the bag. And we don't waste any of this very, 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 very amazing glitter. Okay. Close the lid really well. Put it off to the side. Now I'm going to bring the parchment paper back in because it's going to catch any of the glitter. When I remove this tape, oh, it's sticking to that stinking vinyl. There we go. Sorry, it stuck to the vinyl just a little bit, but I got it. All right, and just very, very carefully pull it up. Now, if you have little tiny bits on the edges that didn't get glittered, don't stress about it, like right on the edge, because we're gonna cover it with vinyl. It's okay. So like there's like a hair line alongside this vinyl that didn't get glittered because of the tape, and that's okay because we are gonna be framing it out with our foil vinyl. All right, so I'm gonna undo this so you guys can see what we've got so far. All right, so see, there we go. In just that simple, we've got this beautiful cup already. So just even like this, it's gorgeous. But we're gonna start adding some really fun details. We're gonna get in here and add a mama bear. We're gonna be doing some lines. We're gonna add the dedication part of this cup. But this one now needs to cure. I'm gonna let it sit overnight. It's late here tonight, so I'm gonna let this sit overnight. Then I'm actually gonna test it in the sunlight to see if I get enough color shifting change and glow to see if I need a second coat of the glitter or not. But this one will now sit overnight and cure onto that. If you want, you can actually press the glitter down. I'm not going to do it because some of the glitter does stick to your glove, and I don't want to waste this glitter at all. So I'm just going to leave it as is, and we will keep going from here, all right? Oh, my God, I'm so excited. She's going to love this cup. Love it. Oh, I'm so excited. All right, guys, we'll be back tomorrow. So I've taken this cup, it's all cured, this cured overnight. I've retaped it off. I took it outside just to see if we got a really good color shift, and it does shift to purple, but because that white is behind it, you don't really see the purple. So I am gonna go ahead and add a second layer just to make it more vibrant because the color shifting is what is gonna really make this cup really stand out and be unique. So I want it to be very obvious. So we're going to take the spray adhesive. This one I'm just using the Elmer's Craft Bond. I usually use Super 77, but I have this one. They both work. They're kind of interchangeable. So I'm going to I taped it back off, and I'm going to just very carefully spray the spray adhesive on top of this glitter, and I'm going to re-glitter this on. So I'm going to take this outside real quick, and we are going to get the spray adhesive on, and we'll be right back. Okay, so the spray adhesive is all over the glittery part. You can actually still see it's a little bit lavender still from being outside. And we're just going to re-glitter it. Just adding a whole new layer. Right on top. So you can do this again with epoxy. You can do the hang method again, or you can do it spray adhesive. I'm doing it both ways so that you can see it in this video, how it's done 2 different ways. But if you don't have spray adhesive or you don't want to deal with it, you can just do another layer of hang method epoxy over the top. And sorry. Okay. So you can do another layer of hang method epoxy over that glitter level layer, and it will, and just reapply the glitter like you did the first round. But like I said, I wanted to show you guys 2 separate ways. That was just easy. Spray it with a little adhesive. Now we're going to let this dry. I'll probably let it sit for about 30 minutes. I'll let that adhesive chill out just a bit. Sorry, I'm just dipping it in, making sure we get it really coated. Once you have the initial glitter on, you can dip it. I wouldn't do it straight, so you don't contaminate your glitter. But once you've got a layer of glitter already on, you can go ahead and just press it on. Make sure you get a lot. But I wouldn't do this with epoxy, you guys. I would never do that with epoxy, because epoxy is too drippy and gooey all over the place. The spray adhesive doesn't really transfer to your glitter when you do this. So only this whole touching it down onto the glitter to get more glitter pressed on it is only done with spray adhesive. All right, so we're gonna let this chill out for a little bit. Then I'm gonna pull this off. I will probably do a clear sealer over the top, and then we're gonna epoxy it. All right, guys, we'll be right back. All right, guys, here we go. That second layer looks absolutely gorgeous. I took it out in the sun, and it turned very pretty shade of purple. I was very happy. The second layer definitely made the difference. So what we're going to do now, I have actually clear coat spray painted it. That way this glitter will stay in place and it won't slide all over the cup. If it little gets on the front, I'm fine with that, but I really do kind of want it to be crisp and beautiful right here. And then I'll have all our other details on this side with the bear and the mama and the baby footprints over here. So we're going to just go ahead and put our layers of epoxy on now, because I want to have a good smooth layer over it before I start adding all my decals. We're going to make this cup nice and perfect. So I've got my silicone brush here. I'm laughing because it's got one piece of red glitter on it. I'm going to try to get it off real quick. And we are just going to brush this on. I'm going to use a silicone brush. This is reusable. The silicone, the epoxy does not stick to the silicone, guys, as I've mentioned. So you can reuse this brush over and over. You just bend it and the epoxy pops off when it's dried. Or you can just wipe it off with a paper towel. I've already mixed my epoxy. I've got A and B already stirred together really well. And I'm just going to start putting it on with my brush. So like I said, guys, I did spray paint this paint with clear spray paint. That way this glitter should pretty much stay in place as we're applying this epoxy. There's no rhyme or reason. We just get this epoxy on there. Move it around with this handy dandy silicone brush. Paint it around, move it around. Make sure the edge is really well coated. We want to make sure there's some above that vinyl, sealing that vinyl in. So we're just going to make sure that's painted right up there. So the rule of thumb, guys, for measuring your epoxy is if you have, for me at least, everybody does it a little different. But for me, if I'm doing, let's say this is a 30-ounce skinny, so I measure half the ounces in milliliters, and that's how much epoxy I need. So I mixed about 15. I want this to be a nice heavy layer so that I get a nice smooth surface. So I actually added 5 extra mLs. That is going to make, but if it's just a regular layer, guys, you would want it half. So if this is 30 ounces, you'd want 15 mLs. But like I said, I want a nice thick coat, almost like a flood coat, just to get a really nice smooth surface. Sorry, I'm just detailing it here. So I use an extra 5 mLs. So this is 20 mLs that I'm using, milliliters. You can measure them out. The little, I don't have one here sitting with me. I measure them out in these little medicine measuring cups by the mLs. You can get the medicine cups, you guys, at Allegro Medical. And if you sign up for their newsletter email, you can get the emails that'll state which days they have free shipping. They have free shipping usually about once a week.
and that's on any order, and that's very, very handy because these little cups are the measuring cups are very, very small and inexpensive, but when you have to pay the shipping on top, it makes them a little bit more pricey. So it's really nice to get them on the free shipping day. And I ordered, they generally have gloves really inexpensive too, so sometimes I order my gloves at the same time. So I'm just adding some of this extra epoxy. I don't need it, so that's why I said it's 5 extra mLs, but I just want to have it nice and thick on here. So, all right, that bottom is covered. It looks beautiful. There's even still some left over, so I probably really only needed that 15 mLs. But I actually need this for another project, so I'm always doing more than one thing at a time. All right, so now we are going to torch it. So I forgot to mention this, but I am wearing my chemical mask and my nitrile gloves, guys. You got to wear them. Keep your body healthy. When you're torching, you guys, you always want to move fast. This is just to remove all the little micro bubbles, guys. That surface is beautiful. Oh man, that's gorgeous. Okay, so we're just going to let this spin now for probably about 9 hours. Then I'm going to transfer it to a drying rack. There's a little spot right there. Then I will transfer it to a drying rack. If you guys if this is the first tutorial, you're probably like, what the heck is that thing spinning on? So these are spinning on a rotisserie motor. It's kind of like a barbecue rotisserie for a turkey or a chicken on your barbecue. Epoxy is self-leveling, so you got to keep it moving. Otherwise, it'll just all drip to the bottom and fall off. But by keeping it spinning, the epoxy will spin and seal very, very nice and smooth. This is a rotisserie motor hooked onto a little machine, and it's created. If you don't know how to make one of these, you guys, I have a very primitive how to make a tumbler turner video. I am not a carpenter, so it is literally the most basic tumbler turner you can make. And I even fumble through the tutorial, but I want you to see that anybody can make one. This one is a very, very fancy one. The one I actually recommend if you're going to buy one is, I should have set it up for this tutorial, but I did not, because I have multiple turners. This one that it's spinning on is actually rather loud. The motor is very loud. But this one, sorry, I'm bringing it in frame. I'm trying not to touch my cup. This is a beautiful one. This is laser printed, and it holds this motor. This motor has a cooling system. It's the same motor that I use on all my other turners. So that tumbler turner, you guys, is from The Cup Turner. They are on Etsy. You can just search on Etsy, The Cup Turner, TheCupTurner, all one word, and that will take you to their Etsy page. And that thing is amazing. And it comes with the inserts, and the inserts go all the way inside the cup. I've seen some inserts that sit right on the lip, and I've bought those, and they're very expensive. But the problem with those is when you work on the lip, it actually epoxies your cup to that thing. It's very hard to get it out. So this one is great because this will actually sit down inside your cup. And so it goes in farther than the lip, so it does not get epoxied into your cup. It's really, really great. They sell them with all the different sizes for the different types of cups. It's just really a really, really spectacular turner, you guys. So I would recommend even just checking them out, The Cup Turner. I will make sure that link is available in our Facebook group and everywhere. Plus that you're supporting small business when you buy from them, you guys, and they are really, really good. They are really, really good people. We've got a little spot here that's got missed. There we go. Let's make sure that spot got covered, and it did. There we go. All right, guys, so we're going to let this spin, and we will be back.
So we're back. This cup has one coat of epoxy on it over the glitter. I just want to get a nice, really smooth surface over the glitter so we can do our decals on top. So we will start with our Mamabear Decal, and it's going to go on this side with the flowers. And so you can see here, I've got my Mamabear. I cut this out on my Cricut, you guys. I just have the design, and I put the year that the baby was born for the mama. So it's the year she was established as a mom. I'm going to peel this off. This is just transfer tape. It's kind of like very similar to drawer liner. You can buy some at the dollar store that's used to put on the line the drawers in your kitchen. This is actually transfer tape. It's a roll of transfer tape, but if you don't have any, you can just easily get it there at the dollar store. So what I want to do is I want to line this up and do what I always do, where I sit down the middle first and then roll it around. And I want to make sure I am dead even. I'm just looking at the edges of where the paper goes. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make sure it's straight up and down. I always press the middle down first, guys, and then I go over. So what you want to do is I always make sure there's at least one layer of epoxy down. That way it does, when the transfer tape goes down and it sticks down, when I lift it up, it's not going to lift off the paint or anything. So anytime I'm working with kind of a surface where I have to put the decal down on, I always have at least one layer of epoxy, guys. I never just lay these over paint unless I'm very, very confident in where I am for that day. But it's just honestly not worth accidentally making a mistake and having to start the whole cup over. I would rather just do one layer of epoxy, get a nice, smooth, good surface. Oh, it looks so good. She's going to freak out. I love it. So there's Mama Bear. Okay, so that's going to be on that side. I'm just going to put that transfer paper up there. So this is going to be Mama's side with the Mama Bear with the purple. It's super duper cute. Then we're going to turn it over. And we are going to put baby Erin's feet in there. And we're going to put her little, it's going to say her date and how heavy she was and all her little stats. So we're going to be doing that on a water slide paper. So we have the water slide here. These are her actual footprints, left and right. I did not mirror these images because I'm going to show you how I just do a water slide without my fancy, tricky backwards method, because I do get questions about that still very, very frequently. So we are going to go ahead and get that started, and we will start that process. All right, guys, we are to the point where we are going to put on this super duper cute little decal. This is a water slide with the baby's actual footprints on it. So what I did was I had her take the picture, just do a screenshot of, or just took a picture of the baby's footprints, and she emailed it to me, and then I just loaded it up into Design Space and removed the background and kind of cleaned it up and got this, and this is her exact footprints. So this is a water slide paper, you guys. If you have not worked with water slide paper, it's really, really interesting. It's very similar to a like a tattoo, like a temporary tattoo, where you would get water in it and then the film comes off and it sticks down and it adheres on. Now, we're not going to be baking this. You can bake this onto ceramic and it will become permanent, but we're going to be putting it under epoxy. And that's going to be what makes it permanent, because you can't really bake these cups. You cannot bake these cups, you guys. If you put an epoxy cup in your oven is ruined. The chemicals from the uncured epoxy or the epoxy will destroy your oven. You can never cook in it again. It will seem fine, but don't ever do it. You will give your family cancer. Please don't ever do that. Okay, so you can put ceramic, though. If you put this on a ceramic plate or something, you can bake that. But we're not going to be baking this. So we are going to be putting this under epoxy. So this is actually a clear piece of paper. There's different types of water slide paper. There is laser print paper and there's inkjet paper. You need to make sure you buy the paper that coincides with your printer. Laser ink is waterproof. So if you're doing it with a laser printer on laser printer water slide paper, you don't need to seal it. If you're doing inkjet on inkjet paper, you do need to seal it. So this is inkjet. I actually like the way my inkjet prints better on my water slides. It comes, to me, I think it personally just comes out better. But that's just because that's probably my printers. So this one has a coat, 3 coats of the triple thick spray paint over the top. So, and that's going to seal in that ink, because the ink from an inkjet is not waterproof, guys. So if you have a problem when you put your water slide in and the image disappears, it's because you're probably using an inkjet printer and you did not seal it enough, or didn't seal it at all. So what we do when we do these water slides, this is water slide paper from wickedshimmersupply.com. She has beautiful papers. She's going to be including a sheet of the paper in with the glitter. So we're going to be doing a glitter kit for her. So you can buy this beautiful color shifting glitter and UV glitter, so it glows in the dark and it shifts to purple in the sunlight. So she's going to have a little kit, you guys, and it's going to have this, a piece of this printed vinyl. It's going to have the glitter, and it's going to have a sheet of water slide so you can print out your baby's footprints or whatever you want to end up. You don't have to do this exact cup just like this. You can make it however you want, but she'll give you a water slide sheet so you can, if you don't have one, you can practice with it or try it. So what you do is, this is water. This is just room temperature water. It's kind of cool to the touch. It's not cold. It's definitely would be easy to get it if it was beach water, but it's not warm either. You kind of want it right in the middle. You don't want hot, you don't want cold. You just want cool room temp water. And you're going to drop it down in there, and it's going to curl up. That's fine. Some people try to worry about it and try to flatten it. It doesn't make a difference whatsoever, the wrinkling. And the more you work and mess with it, the more likely you're going to have issues. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your fingers and you're going to get a little water on there. We're going to be using this silicone squeegee to apply it. You can also use this to add the water. You want to put the water down, that way you can kind of slide and move the image around. We're going to let the image sit in there for about 60 seconds, and it's just going to soak up and get real slippery. You can test it by rubbing your finger, like kind of pushing it, and when you feel it kind of release from the backing, see how it's sliding around off the backing, guys? That's how you know it's ready, and you can see how fast that was. So what I do is I make a very basic shape around my image that I want. Like, I don't try to get too intricate with my cut. You don't have to have it cut directly out around it when you're doing clear, because the clear paper will disappear. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay it in basically in the spot that I want it. I'm just going to kind of make sure that's in the middle. I know one of these decals I want to put above it, so I'm going to make sure I measure that out to have enough space above it. I'm going to drop it down just a touch more. Okay, then I'm going to have my squeegee all ready and wet. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it with my fingers. I'm going to press it up just a little bit. Then you can see the paper gets exposed, and I slide the paper out from underneath. This will help you to avoid wrinkles and anything like that, guys. And folding of your decal, it won't flop over and fold. Then you want to take the squeegee, and you just want to squeegee it out. And what we're doing with this is we're making sure there's no water trapped behind the image. So if there's water behind it, you guys, it will get weird and foggy and will repel your epoxy. And it will show the lines along the edges. If you make sure all the water is squeegeed out, this is just a silicone brush, you guys. I use these to apply my epoxy and to put on my water slides. And there you have it. So now what we'll do with this is I'm going to put it in the front of a fan for about 20 minutes. It's going to dry really, really well. We're going to come back and we're going to add the rest of the decals. But those came out super duper duper cute. I am getting so excited. I can't wait to send this to her. All right, guys, we're going to put this in front of the fan. We'll be right back. All right, so that is all dry. It's actually probably dried for a couple hours. You know me, I put projects down and I don't get right back to them because I do a million other things in between. So what we are going to do now is totally dry. It's on there. It's stuck on there. It won't rub off. If you put a water slide decal on, and you can see the backing completely disappears, and all you're left with is the feet. If you really look close, you can see the edge, but once it's under epoxy, that completely disappears. Okay, so if you ever put a water slide on and it dries like this and then you need to remove it, the best way to get it off is to just gently sand it away. Because picking it and scraping it will take you forever. Just take a sandpaper and just sand it off and start over. Okay, so we are going to first apply these wonderful little decals. We are going to put the birth date on there. This is again on the transfer paper. We're going to pull that off. Okay, so we're going to take this and just carefully set this up here over the feet. Paying attention to try to get it in the middle and make sure it's even. Okay, and then pull it up. I'm going to just press it down to make sure it's really down on there. Put this piece of transfer paper over to the side. Okay, the other one is going to be her weight and what time she was born and how long she was. My little tiny nugget was born at 1 pound 8 ounces. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you probably are not in my Facebook group. We have a little glitter baby in our Facebook group. I know I talked about it at the beginning of the video, but we're very proud of her. She's doing really, really good in the NICU. So here we go. So we're making this cup for her mommy. She's in our Facebook group, and she went into labor and had to deliver that baby on the same day she won a prize in our Facebook group. And it was so funny because she's like, I'm so sorry I didn't respond to all your messages. Sorry, there's a little piece of vinyl here. I want to make sure it's not going to get stuck to the cup. But she's like, I'm so sorry I didn't get back to you about winning the prize and what my address is and stuff. I had the baby. So we were like, yay, we have our first glitter baby. Okay, so this is just gonna go right there. And rub it. All right, so now we have our glitter baby Erin. We have our Mama Bear. She's still a little bit wet because the fan wasn't on her side. We have our Mama Bear, established 2019. We have baby Erin on this side. Oh, it's going to be so cute. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do our strips. Now, I was going to do regular gold, but I decided I was going to get a little more fancy than that. And so we're going to do rose gold today. It's really just metallic rose. It's not even gold. It's just metallic rose, but we'll call it rose gold. So I just made 2 strips, and these are 1/2 inch wide. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to lay it over the seam to make it look like a fancier seam. I'm just going to kind of line it up here and drop it down and drop it down here. There we go. We're using the metallic just because it's very, very pretty. Okay, so there's that. We're going to get that on nice and smooth, laid down. Okay, and then I have my X-Acto knife ready to go. We're going to X-Acto knife right here. I'm just going to do it very gently. There we go. Remove that piece. Okay, let's stick that up here. We're going to come up here and we're going to very, very, very carefully slice the very ridge of this. Doop. And we're going to go ahead and do the other side. So that's what I did, is I just cut these out. I just made this shape in my design space. And then I cut them out. I just made them 11.5 inches long, knowing that would make them longer than the cup itself so that we could cut off the edges. Okay, so. All right. Press it down really well. And slice off that little tail. Slice off this little bit on top. Very carefully so I don't slice my fingers. All right, and I see there I lift just a tiny bit above the foil so I can get a little bit of epoxy over the top and seal it down in there. Oh, it's so cute. So this is just our cool little swirl cup for glitter baby Erin. All right, so this is still a little wet on this side, so I'm going to put it in front of the fan to get this completely dry on this side. Oop, there's a little weird goober on there. And then we will get this under epoxy, but I'm going to make sure it's completely dry before we put it under epoxy. All right, guys, we'll be back.
Here we go, guys. So as you can see, I changed a little bit up of this cup. I got all those decals on there, and I just didn't like the color combination. So I switched it up, and I went with black, and I went with a little bit less detail because it looked just like too much going on in the cup. So for the little baby's footprints, I loved them in black, but I thought the purple was a little too much. So we went with the black date that she was born. And then we did black Mama Bear in the date that she was established as a mama. So I took away all the height, weight, and all that stuff. I love it, but it just made the cup look a little too busy, a little too overwhelming, just too much going on. And so with this, I think we get the perfect gist of what we got going on this cup. So I've got my epoxy mixed, A and B mixed together. You can see it's clear and ready to go. I've got my chemical mask on. I've got my silicone brush. I've got my nitrile gloves on. You want to make sure you wear nitrile gloves, you guys. That is very, very important. That is the type of glove that will keep the chemicals of this epoxy from seeping through. Regular latex, the chemicals of this epoxy will seep through latex. And you can build up an allergy over time. So yeah, you might not have a problem in the beginning, but you will build up a problem. So in the beginning, I did not know we were supposed to be wearing a chemical mask because I was never taught that by the people that I learned from. And so I didn't know. And so now I have a small chemical reaction to the epoxy. It builds up over time. I didn't have a problem for probably over a year. I worked without gloves. I worked without a chemical mask. and the toxins built up in my body, and now I have an allergic reaction. So it's very mild at this point. So it's obviously not going to stop me from working on cups, but now I just make sure I wear all my safety equipment so that I don't keep coming in contact with the epoxy and making my problem bigger, because I would hate to have to stop doing what I love just because I have a contact issue with it. So we're just using the silicone brush so that we don't even bring our glove really into contact with the epoxy. It's even just the brush that's touching. And I'm just going and making sure all the parts are covered, especially up here at the top. I make sure that I run a little epoxy over the edge. That way I know that it's got a good seal on it over the top of the cup. Where the top of our vinyl goes. You saw me do that in the first step as well. I'm going to continue to do that same strategy on the top of this foil line as well. Make sure everything is sealed down under this epoxy really, really well. And you can see that water slide is just staying in place. Water slides are really, really cool for that. They're just a really cool way to put images on your cup. So now if you're working with water slide, you guys, there is clear water slide and there is white water slide. The only time you would use clear is a situation like this where the glitter is very, very light colored or white. The darker the glitter color or the base color of your cup is, the harder it is to see the image when you use clear. So if you want your image to be very, very, very seeable, you want to use white water slide and have your Cricut cut it out, or your vinyl cutting machine, whatever machine you use to cut. But if you want, like how this one, I didn't want the background on it, so this one just has the clear water slide and it's the invisible background. So there you go. I have extra, guys, because I mixed extra. I am working on buttons over there, and I needed just a little extra to finish off 2 buttons. So I've got a little extra epoxy, but that's what's planned. All right, so now we're going to take our torch and we're going to pop all the bubbles. You want to move quickly with your torch. If you go too slow, you'll burn the epoxy. Now, burnt epoxy just looks like a bunch of bubbles. So you could be burning it and just think, because I see people all the time say, I've got these bubbles that I cannot get rid of. They will not go away even with a torch. My answer to that is, you've burned your epoxy. Burnt epoxy looks like a billion little bubbles on top of your cup. And they won't go away no matter how much you torch them or how much you work with them. They will stay there. All right, so now this one, all the bubbles are popped. We're going to let it go. I will probably do 2 rounds of epoxy over the top of this. Probably won't do the second round on camera. You guys get the point of what it looks like to epoxy. The second round will be done off camera. We'll let it cure. So probably what I'll do is I will let this layer go for 4 hours, and then I will flood coat it. Not flood coat it, sorry. I'm going to coat it again in 4 hours with the second layer. Because when you're doing a layer over layer, sorry, there's a gnat. They make me so mad. No, got it. Sorry, I don't want it anywhere near my cup. So when you're working with epoxy, if you're not going to have to sand it or do anything to it, you can do 2 coats on top of each other every 4 hours. So you can do a coat, I'll wait 4 hours, and I'll do the second coat. There's a couple more bubbles I'm going to have to pop so I can see them on the foil here. So in 4 hours, I'm going to put another coat on this, you guys, then we're going to let it turn all night. All right, so we'll be back.
All right, guys, we are back. She is totally gorgeous. I am in love, mainly because I know where this is going and it means a lot to me. It's so beautiful. I might put one more coat of epoxy on it just to make sure it has a nice, good, solid coat on it. So it's really durable, because I know this little baby isn't going to be a baby forever and will eventually be a toddler, and we don't want this. We want to have a nice seal on it and make it really well prepped. So I'll probably end up putting one more layer of epoxy on it, but we'll see. But as for now, I'm going to consider it finished. The kit is going to be available through wickedshimmersupply.com, you guys. The coupon code is Littlelee in all caps, all one word, Littlelee. That'll get you a discount. The kit is going to include the printed vinyl, a Mamabear decal, and the color shifting UV glitters. I believe there's going to be a couple options where you can choose which color you want to color shift from and to. There you go. It's that easy. If you like this tutorial, you guys, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. It means a lot to me. And subscribe to the channel and ring that bell because I put out a lot of tutorials. I try to get out at least 2 or 3 a week and teach you guys a lot of really good stuff. Try to get it packed full of info. And if you don't know how to find the links to buy the kits or any of the supplies that I mentioned while I was working on this, you can go just below this tutorial. It'll say Littlelee in rows, and just to the right of that, it'll have it'll be a little beginning of a menu, and it says read more. Click the read more, and it'll drop down the entire list of all the supplies I used today with links on easy ways to find them and buy them. It'll also have the link for the kit if you want to make this same cup. The link for the kit will be available as well. That's at wickedshimmersupply.com, and don't forget to use your coupon code. All right, guys, that is it for this tutorial. I hope we taught you something cool. I love doing this for you guys, and I can't wait to see you guys with the next tutorial. Bye, guys.